100 से भी ज्यादा सोच अपनी भाषा में, सिर्फ सोचकास्ट पर। गुजराती, संस्कृत, कन्नड़ा, बंगाली और तमिल में भी। सोचकास्ट, अपनी सोच दुनिया को सुनाओ और सुनो दुनिया की सोच। डाउनलोड कीजिए अभी गूगल प्ले से या सुनिए www.sochcast.com पर।
Welcome to Gola Stories, and my name is Anil. I'm going to put my glasses on. The sun's right at my eye. And we've stopped at the Canyonlands National Park to get some advice at the visitor center. And then I see this gentleman taking pictures of my car, and as usual I say, I'd love to pose for you because it happens often enough. And guess who I find here? Dr. Cullen, Bakshi and his wife Kinnari from Philadelphia in our neighborhood. And he's a doctor, but he's a vascular surgeon, which means he's done transplants as well. So let's turn this camera around and talk to him. And Dr. Cullen, Bakshi and his wife Kinnari. I'm more interested in his wife Kinnari's account first because A, she's a lady, ladies go first. And number two, her mother used to listen to my show Anil Ki Awaaz, and that is gratifying because that's been over 10 years and I've done that for 10 years, so 20 years ago. So Kinnari, recap. Let my followers and my listeners know that I did have listeners.
Yes,
when I was here.
You sure did. You had hundreds of listeners, and my mother used to listen to you regularly on the weekends, and she would recommend that I listen to it, and I did. And the 70s and 60s and 80s music was wonderful, which is the era that I grew up in. And I'm a retired ophthalmologist and his big supporter. And here's my big guy.
So I should have asked you earlier. So you are now Dr. Kinnari Bakshi, and you've earned those stripes, so you've got to be called that.
Thank you.
So, well, thank you for being a listener of Anil Ki Awaaz. And when you say ophthalmology, I guess you also are pretty closely related to eye donations.
Yes.
Are you a surgeon? No.
I am.
You are. And have you done any eye transplants? Corneal transplants?
I haven't done any corneal. No, I was not a corneal specialist.
You're not?
Just cataracts I used to do.
Okay, I have a different discussion to have with you.
Sure.
More of a family thing. Sure. But Dr. Bakshi.
Yes, sir.
What made you start taking pictures of this car?
I think it's fantastic to see a donation type of, the word donation, kidney donation caught my eye because I used to do kidney transplants during my training years and also later on some. Then I switched to main vascular surgery. But when I saw that donation, kidney donation, it was like something that was very close to my heart. I think this is something that was a fantastic thing that a person can do if they're able to donate kidney live or otherwise. Even after, dying, it can be used to survive.
So from a medical perspective, a lot of people have apprehensions to donate from, like I said, I've spoken to over 125,000 people. And one of those things I get asked most of the time is if I donate my family's organs after death, is there any respect shown for the body, or will I get the body all cut up? And if I'm a living organ donor, will doctors not take care of us because we are donors on our license, and they take less care of us so they can use our organs? Two fears that come up all the time.
Very fascinating questions. One of the other questions I might add, I want to answer that, because a lot of times you say, if I have two kidneys, what will happen to me? How will I survive? Will my one kidney be enough? That's one of the questions I was asked most commonly. And in reality, only you need about 25% of your functioning kidney cells, 25% of one kidney. You don't need more than that to be functioning well and be normal.
Now, that's great information.
So that was one thing that people need to know. And the kidneys can clear, it will grow. Supposing it's a smaller kidney, the second kidney after the transplant will start growing again. It will make it even bigger if necessary. Most of the time it's not necessary for that kidney to do that, but it will survive, it will give good kidney function. So the live kidney donor can be reassured that, if there are no other infections, other things that will happen down the line,
well,
that can happen.
Generally this is the rule, but there are exceptions.
There are exceptions, and the choice for the healthy donor, live donor is done very carefully so that people are selected very healthy and all, and high blood pressure, stuff like that, So that's important, that's one. And in terms of giving live donorship, I have to say that I also was involved in a cardiac transplant program, although I didn't do it myself. And it's very fascinating that all transplant programs, it gives life to somebody else, a meaningful life. And it's an amazing thing, because chronic problems like heart failure or kidney failure or liver failure. One of my close friends had a combined liver and kidney transplant done by a wonderful surgeon in India. So this India also, they have so much capability now technologically. So that's one. I'm deviating from your question, but now let me go to the question that you had about donors after death. Well, first of all, a complete death, that means complete cessation of all the activities and also the functioning of the organ. If that were to happen, quite frankly, the organ cannot be used. So what happens is
you're talking about the basic kidney, liver, heart, lung, but there are other organs that you could use after you die, as your cornea, skin.
Even the skin, cornea. Also, there are some timing intervals involved.
Sure, yes.
Because these tissues have to be really proper so that they can survive in the area where it's transplanted. Can be used.
Correct.
By the
it has
person
to be procured or /harvested within 10 hours of death.
Exactly, within a certain time. So when I did transplantation, we used to do harvesting. We go out to people who have agreed to have after dying or after the brain activity is ceased. But this donor, for example, both of us are organ donors. On our driver's license, we say we are organ donors. We're registered organ donors.
Go ahead, doctor. What about the concern about having an organ donation heart on your driver's license and doctors taking less care of that person?
The organ donor is just the person who has declared the intent to donate, and that's a wonderful intent. The honor to be done, it can be honored by the family, and so ultimately the living will is important. That the person has to establish that with the family or person who is going to take care of the health decision making. So some additional aspect is needed in order to clarify that part. And it's not as if that the kidney will be taken out immediately, or liver, etc., any of the organs immediately once the person dies.
So anyone needing medical care will be fully protocoled to a point that they're not going to be compromised.
Right. Not only that, but complete, reversal. Declared death, declaration of cessation of life, with just continued brain activity. That is still there, and circulation is there. In fact, the heart has to be pumping, heart has to be working, everything has to be noting. When the brain is not working, functional, that is when the family is called, that is when the living will gets into action. All these things are important before the organ is taken out. So no, doctors do not have a prerogative or an ability or a right to take it out. No.
Well, thank you, Dr. Cullen Bakshi, for stopping by and being curious about what we do, and for giving us your pearls of wisdom from direct access to your experience of being a transplant/vascular surgeon. And I hope you have a great trip here at the Canyonlands National Park, and we'll probably bump into you. And if there's any way I can come and speak to a group of your people, let me know. I'd be happy to. I should be back in the Philadelphia area end of September, or middle of September, so I should be around there to speak in person or on Zoom.
Thank you very much, Anilji, and it was a pleasure meeting you.
More Gola stories from the road. Stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe and share our videos on our YouTube channel and elsewhere.